But otherwise, good evening. As I said before, my name is Balaish. I am the Family Empowerment Communications Coordinator for the New York City Department of Education. I'll be your host this evening. We are excited for tonight's session on special education resources for families, which will cover the IEP process, special education services and programs, and support resources for families when they have any questions or concerns. But before we get started, I do just want to make sure that I announce as a general reminder, we don't have the chat function enabled during this, but we do have the Q&A function. So you will be able to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can during the session, but we do have time at the end allotted just for any of those questions that we can ask additionally. And as always, as I said earlier, this session will be recorded and posted to our YouTube page the following day. So don't worry if you miss any content, throughout today's webinar, you can watch it on our YouTube page tomorrow. And if you don't follow our YouTube page, what are you doing? Go out and follow our YouTube page, a Beyond Access series, a lot of great content from former series and obviously upcoming as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, tonight's session will be led by Shaw Powell, who is the Director of Family Support for the Special Education Office, and she will be going over all these resources and how to access them, the best contact for resources, and how, helpful suggestions on how to foster engagement. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Shaw. You're on mute, Shaw.
I said a very lovely thank you to you both. Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ori. Thank you, Jailene. My name is Shaw Powell Scott. I am the Director of Family Support within the New York City Department of Education's Office of Special Education. I'm so excited and happy to be here with you this evening. Thank you. Welcome, families, advocates, and communities. Once again, my name is Shaw Powell Scott. I've been with the New York City Department of Education for 11 years. I've been within the Office of Special Education for 5.5 years. In my role as a Director of Family Support, I support our citywide special education family support inbox, answering many of your questions and concerns. I also work with our policy, legal related services, all DOE teams to make sure that our families are receiving high quality and equitable special education services. And I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. I am going to share my screen and we will begin tonight's presentation. Thank you. So once again, thank you for joining everyone. Tonight, we are going to talk about New York City Department of Education, special education, supports and resources for families. Go really quickly over our agenda. We're going to discuss what's new for the 2022-23 school year, questions to ask about your child's needs. We'll complete an overview of the IEP process, referral, evaluation, the IEP meeting, programs and services in school settings, talking to your IEP team about trauma, parent members, getting support, and contacts and resources. So, what's new for the 2022 to 2023 school year? One of our very exciting programs is our Sensory Education, Exploration, and Discovery Program, also known as the SEED program. The SEED program is a unique, enrichment-based sensory movement program that's offered Monday through Thursday and on Saturdays to support students who display intensive sensory needs that significantly impact their school functioning and participation. This year, school SEED will be expanded this fall to include 35 additional SEED sites that will launch in late November, with an additional 35 sites that will launch in February. So along with Central's or already existing 10 seed sites, there will be 80 seed sites in total by the end of this school year. So that's very exciting. Seed eligible students must be enrolled in a New York City DOE public school or pre-K program, so from pre-K through high school, and have an IEP recommending occupational therapy services. The school community collaborates to identify students who would most benefit from seed participation, with a priority given to students exhibiting intensive sensory needs, students living in temporary housing, and students who had an extensive gap in their service delivery. If you have additional questions about the SEED program, please feel free to email seedprogramors@schools.nyc.gov. That's seedprogramors@schools.nyc.gov. Also new for this school year will be our compensatory services determinations. So our DOE students have benefited greatly from the return to in-person learning and academic recovery efforts, including what you may know as the Special Education Recovery Services, or SERS, that were provided during the 21-22 school year. However, some students still have gaps that were caused by periods of blended and remote learning. So during the 22-23 school year, IEP teams will make individualized decisions as to whether each student with an IEP requires compensatory specialized instruction or related services to address gaps in their progress or skilled regression caused by an inability to benefit from remote instruction or missed services that occurred due to the pandemic. IEPs will actually include a new page that indicates whether the IEP team, of which parents are members, determined that compensatory services are required, the reasons for the recommendation, and a list of recommended services, if any. If the student is recommended for compensatory services, their school will work with the family to ensure that services are provided. Your first point of contact should always be your child's school. If you need additional support around compensatory services, please email sers@schools.nyc.gov, or you may call 311. That's SERS@schools.nyc.gov. I'd like to talk a little bit about helpful questions to foster engagement. Many times when I'm interacting with families or even advocates within the community, uh, families are asking questions on how they may better engage their child's school or how to foster a very helpful conversation. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that. There are questions that the school team may ask in order to get to know your child better and provide appropriate services. Those questions may be, what brings out the best in your child? What are your child's strengths, challenges, and their interests? What does your child like to do outside of school? What do you do at home to encourage positive behavior and learning? What areas does your child need extra help with? Questions that families may ask of their child's school team to help foster engagement. You can ask your child's school, what are my child's strengths and challenges within the classroom? How do you support my child when they need help? Do you have examples of my child's work that we can look at together? Is my child learning and developing at a rate that's expected for their age? How does my child get along with other students in the classroom? Are there programs in the community that might help my child? What are some learning activities I can do at home or in the neighborhood? This is just a very, very, very small subset of questions just to kind of guide some of those conversations as you're just talking with your child's school about how to most appropriately support your child.
Hey, Shaw,
Yes,
before we continue, I'm going to stop on those questions for 1 second because our Mandarin interpreter is here and I just want to make sure she can make the announcement of the interpretation line.
absolutely. Do you want me to stop sharing the screen?
No, it's okay. Well, we can go through right through here.
Okay, just let me know when to go.
Absolutely. All right. And so everyone, this is just a quick announcement about our Mandarin interpretation line.
哎，你好，大家。刚才因为技术问题，我一直在线，但是无法为您翻译。现在问题解决了。首先向您抱歉，今天很荣幸来做您的翻译。我是 Jasmine。好的，谢谢大家。
Okay, thank you, Shaw. You can continue. I apologize.
No problem. Thank you so much. It's all right. And see, there's actually one more helpful question. How can I help my child if they are struggling with homework? That's a great question. Families have lots of questions on how to start the IEP process, whether that means your child does not have an IEP or your child may have an IEP and you're seeking additional evaluations or you have additional concerns about the special education supports that your child is currently receiving and believe that your child could benefit from additional evaluations. Start with making a referral. For a child to be evaluated for special education services, a referral must be made. How do we make a referral? The referral must be in writing and be made by a parent or a DOE school official. And in writing could be handing a letter to school staff. It could be via email as well. I just want to highlight before we move forward that the referral does not have to contain any magic language. The information that I'm sharing is helpful to start the process, but it doesn't have to contain magic words in order to start the process. It is helpful to describe the concerns about your child's development, learning, and/or behavior. It should state that you're requesting a special education evaluation. If your child has received or is currently receiving services, that is helpful to list as well. Include your child's full legal name and date of birth. Including your name, address, and a telephone number where you can be reached is very helpful. And please state your preferred language if it is not English. What do you do with the referral after it's completed? Where to send the referral? For preschool students, you can email, fax, or hand deliver the referral letter to the appropriate district committee on preschool special education, also known as the CPSE. And later in the presentation, you will see direct contacts for each CSE and CPSC that will be available to you. For school-age students attending public school, you can email, fax, or give the written referral to the principal or staff member in your child's school. For school-age students that are enrolled in a private, religious, charter school, or not enrolled in schools such as being homeschooled, you can email, fax, or hand deliver the referral letter to your local district committee on special education. If you have difficulty connecting with your child's school or your local CSE or CPSE team, you may email special education at schools.nyc.gov or call 311. We are very happy to connect you with your child's school or the appropriate CSE to accept your referral. This is also relatively new in some of the discussions that we've been having since we've returned to in-person learning. Talking to your IEP team about trauma. While trauma is not itself a disability, but experiencing the physical or emotional trauma may be a factor that brings about a student's disability or may affect a student's needs relating to their existing disability. If your child has experienced trauma that is interfering with their education, this should be discussed during the evaluation process. For example, during the social history meeting and in your child's IEP meeting. Staff are very well trained to discuss trauma and supporting students through the IEP process. If you have concerns about how trauma is impacting your child's educational progress, talk to your child's teacher or the school social worker. You may visit our crisis or traumatic event page for resources to support students through crisis or traumatic events. I'd like to stop here and highlight that there are live links in this presentation that will be shared with you as a follow-up to this meeting. So all of the information available during this presentation, links and contacts will be available to you. Parent members. What is a parent member? Parent members contribute valuable information and support to families who request their attendance at an IEP meeting. Parent members receive training and go through a certification process so they can assist and support other parents at IEP meetings when requested. Parent members participate in discussions about eligibility for special education services, educational planning and goal setting, learning in the least restrictive environment, which is also known as LRE, understanding the evaluation and placement processes. They also help to ensure that the student's family understands and is comfortable with the IEP team's decisions and have had their questions and concerns addressed. If you'd like to request a parent member at your child's IEP meeting, you can make this request in writing to your school or CSE or CPSE, the Committee on Special Education or Committee on Preschool Special Education, at least 72 hours in advance of your meeting. If you have questions about becoming a parent member, please email parent@schools.nyc.gov. Getting special education support. So we're going to take some time to talk about what are the next steps when you have a question or concern regarding your child's special education services, starting the special education process, or anything to do with special education. The first step would be speaking to the IEP team, your child's school. In addition to the parent, a student's IEP team includes, at a minimum, their teachers, their related service providers. It can also include a school psychologist, school social worker, and other specialized members, even including a student's physician. For children attending preschool, charter school, a private or parochial school, or other non-public school, or being homeschooled, they can contact their Committee on Preschool Special Education, or CSE. In the event that you've spoken with your child's school-based support team, the IEP team, and your concerns have not been resolved or have been unable to be resolved, you can also get help from the district or central staff. For students attending public schools in District 1 through 32, families are able to connect with family support coordinators within their district superintendent's office. In District 75, they may also connect with their superintendent's office. For central office support, in the event that your concern cannot be resolved at the school and/or district superintendent level, it may be escalated to the central special education office. You can reach us directly at our special education family support inbox, which is specialeducation@schools.nyc.gov. We are very, very happy to assist with your questions or concerns. When reaching out with questions or concerns about your child's special education services, please include your child's full name, their date of birth. If you have their New York City student ID number, that's very helpful. Your contact information, meaning an email or a phone number, best way to contact you. And any details about your question or concern, please feel free to be as specific as possible. We love to know about what your concern is. And the more information we have, the easier it is for us to move towards resolving that issue. And please include any previous action steps taken by you or your school team. So if this is an issue that you've already spoken with to your school team or your district team, let us know more about what happened, maybe who you spoke with. That's very helpful information as well. In addition, getting special education support, families have rights, and we're going to talk about what are your rights as the parent of a student with a disability. Families' rights are also known as due process. Families have the right to request mediation. What is mediation? Mediation is a confidential, voluntary process that allows families and schools to resolve disputes without a formal due process hearing, which is also known as an impartial hearing. Families also have the right to request an impartial hearing. At an impartial hearing, a hearing officer listens to both sides and makes a decision. That hearing officer decides what, if anything, went wrong and how to fix it. Families also have the right to file a complaint with New York State. If you believe that the school district has violated federal or state law related to education of students with disabilities, you may submit a written complaint to the New York State Education Department. And we have a comprehensive list of contacts and resources. I will review all of them. However, as I mentioned earlier, all of these contacts will be available to you directly following the meeting. For students that are interested in attending specialized programs, they can reach out to our specialized programs office, which includes the specialized programs inbox, specialized programs at schools.nyc.gov, our ACES program. We have our Autism Spectrum Disorder Nest and Horizon program, which can be reached at asdprograms@schools.nyc.gov. Our bilingual special education programs, which is BSE programs at schools.nyc.gov, as well as our iRead, which is the Intensive Reading Education and Development Early Literacy Program. And that's iRead program at schools.nyc.gov. For students, once again, that are not attending public school, attending a private, parochial, or a charter school, this is a direct link to our Committee on Special Education directory. And you will find more links to our related services team, the Impartial Hearing Office, Pre-K for All 504 accommodations, our Turning 5 team, which assists students with disabilities that are moving to kindergarten, students with disabilities that are moving to preschool. We also have our EI to preschool. So students who are receiving early intervention moving to preschool, they can reach out to EI to preschool at schools.nyc.gov. We have our travel training team. Travel training enables our high school students with disabilities other than blindness to use public transportation and travel independently. We also have a comprehensive listing of outside contacts and resources. These are recommended resources and organizations that are outside of the DOE that provide advocacy, help, events for families, and other opportunities. Those links are available to you. And we'll talk a little bit about our transition and college access centers, which are also known as TCACs. Our TCAC supports students with IEPs and their families through the transition from school to adult life. TCACs offer trainings, workshops, and opportunities that provide the tools needed to plan for adult life. You can contact the center in your borough or even visit them for help. One important issue that comes up for our families is transportation. And if you would like to file a complaint about lateness, no-show buses, or other problems with your child's school bus, you may request your child's school to submit a complaint on your behalf, or you can file a complaint in which you'd receive a ticket number and it would go directly to the Office of Pupil Transportation via the support hub. This link will be shared with you directly as well. As we come close to the end of our presentation, I'd like to talk about our family guides and resources. Our family guides and resources help our families access special education resources via our resources page. On this page, you will find comprehensive special education information and guides. And I'm actually going to visit that page with you so you can see some of the information that lives there. One of them being our Beyond Access series, which you are taking part in right now. We have an entire YouTube channel for families, and I'd definitely like to visit that page with you and just show you a little bit about what lives on that page. Getting help in your language, family guide to preschool special education services, our family guide to special education school age services for kindergarten through 12th grade, our family guide to transition planning, which is for post-secondary planning for students with disabilities, and what we call our Ask and Share, which touches a little bit on what we started with, helpful questions and guides to foster engagement between families and schools. And I'm going to visit that page right now with you. And like to jump right into just taking a look at our Beyond Access page. So this is our special education family resources page. And I wanted to visit this so that you can see all of the resources that live on this page, starting with the Beyond Access series. And if you'd like to view upcoming sessions, as well as register for upcoming sessions, you can visit here and you'll see our session right here. And my favorite, which is our Beyond Access YouTube page. And this is the New York City DOE's Special Education Beyond Access page, where you can find videos about almost any special education topic. So as you'll see, introduction to special education, the IEP process, preparing for the IEP meeting, getting help, disability inclusion. We have many different videos in many different languages, resources of all types. There are more than at least 100 videos on this page. And going back to our resources page, our family guides and resources, you'll find information on getting help in your language, and it's in our 9 top DOE languages. You'll find the family guide to preschool special education, which is our guide that will take you start through finish on preschool special education. The school age guide, which will take you for grades K through 12, comprehensive information on the special education process. You'll find our guide to transition planning and our ask and share. The ask and share guides are by grade, and it provides in-depth questions and answers that you can ask your child's IEP team, which will foster a deeper conversation to ensure that your child is receiving appropriate services. And with that, we are coming to the close of today's presentation, and then we will have time for questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Shaw. That was a very, very helpful presentation. We had a lot of great questions coming in. Please feel free, guys, now to, this is the Q&A session portion. So I know you guys have been asking questions, but feel free to send some in now. We can have a nice little Q&A session with Shaw here for a couple minutes. But very, very nice presentation. I really appreciate also going into the resources page right after. That was really helpful to see kind of how you can go onto the website and actually go through and the resources for the family guides and what's your language. And thank you so much for as well showing the Beyond Access YouTube page. We have yet to do that on a Beyond Access live webinar, so we very much appreciate you showing all the helpful resources that we do have available for everyone here. Now, I do think we were getting a lot of questions about how to the best, reaching out to for the SEED program. Do you have any kind of tips or, anything more to add based on that program and how best to navigate reaching out?
Absolutely. For families that are interested in connecting with the SEED program team, they are, first of all, let me say amazing. I'm not just going to say that because we work on the same team, but they are amazing and they are super excited and pumped up for this school year. They are very responsive, and the email address that I shared, which is seedprogramors@schools.nyc.gov, is the best way to connect with the program directly if you have specific questions regarding your child's eligibility or the program expansion as well. So that is the best way to connect. If you're having difficulty learning more about the program or connecting, you can also feel free to reach out to us at specialeducation@schools.nyc.gov, and we're happy to connect you with the team directly or answer any questions.
That's great. Thank you so much. And, also, now shifting a little bit to the IP, we just had a question come in, that it just as almost like a feedback, but a lot of people, I guess, or schools or parents are not really familiar with the benefit of having a parent a parent member at the IEP meetings. Can you speak at all to just why that is so beneficial to have someone, a parent member representing them at the IEP meeting?
Absolutely. So specifically a parent member, they go through a certification process. So they're not just any parent, they're a parent. So in that they are your peer. So it's another parent who has actually been trained. They've gone through a training process, and that training process includes learning how to advocate. So these are specially trained parents who know about the special education process. They've gone through a certification process, which means that they've had to, go through a process and actually receive a certification in order to participate in the program. So it's not just any parent, but it's a parent that's gone through an extensive training process and received a certification in order to advocate for other parents. So they're knowledgeable in special education, they're knowledgeable in the special education process and how to advocate and communicate with school teams. And aside from their general knowledge, it can also be a way to feel more comfortable and, to have a peer there who's there in an advocacy capacity to help you during that time.
That's great. As we got some questions that people weren't as aware of a parent advocate or a parent member. So it's really great to just get a little bit more feedback on that. And we also do get some questions too about, when sometimes there's a long process and sometimes parents feel like their emails aren't getting back to them, or the IEP process taking too long. Do you have any tips or suggestions for when they just feel like frustrated, if there's anything they can do to mediate sort of while they're waiting and there's not much they can do just to make sure that their child is getting the full support that they need?
Absolutely. I always encourage families. I think the family and school relationship is very, very important. So I would always encourage you to speak with your child's school team if you have specific questions, if you feel that there is a delay or something's not going the way that you feel it should. You feel that things are dragging out. I would encourage you to speak with your school team. However, this is where we come in. I would encourage you also, if you're unable to resolve your concern about a delay that you're experiencing or something's not going right and you're not comfortable with it, to reach out to us at the Special Education Family Support inbox. And that would serve two reasons. We can answer questions for you regarding the process if they are generalized questions about the way the IEP process works, but we can also connect you with the appropriate team to resolve that concern. We can investigate. We will look into that issue and work on resolving that issue. So if something's happening, something's going awry in the process, and there is an unnecessary delay, we can look into that and work with you and the school team to resolve that issue. So you would reach out to us at schools.nyc.gov, and we are happy to provide you with direct answers to your questions or connect you with the appropriate team to resolve that issue.
Perfect. Yeah, no, and just to reassure everyone, as I know you've said, Shaw, many times, if we just want, because we got those questions, we will send out the resources page for all the brilliant work that Shaw put together here. So don't worry, everything that she discussed, we'll have it in a PDF file, and we'll send out when we send out the recording. So don't worry if you missed anything tonight. But it seems like a lot of things were answered and tonight, and I want to make sure is if the Q&A really seems it's kind of we're okay here, and if that seems to be the case, I don't want to keep anyone more than we have to. And Shaw, we really do appreciate you taking the time tonight to give us this very thoughtful and informative presentation.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be on here with families, and looking forward to connecting many more times during the school year.
Absolutely. This hopefully will not be your last presentation for Beyond Access series, but in the meantime, this was a great one to start off, our only second Beyond Access of the year. And for anyone of the families also wondering, for next week's presentation is going to be a little bit of a shakeup. We will be back to Tuesdays, but this will be a session on bilingual special education, and that Beyond Access series will be in Spanish with English interpretation. So look forward for a little bit of a shakeup there, but just so everyone's aware about our next presentation, that will also be on the email tomorrow. But otherwise, again, thank you, Shaw, and to our interpreters. And thank you to all the families who joined us tonight and continue to support Beyond Access. And we will see you next week. But otherwise, have a good evening.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Ori, Jasmine, Jailin, Rachel. Have a great night. Thank you, families.
Take care, everyone.